All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the Angryprepper. Tonight's special guest is Rip Curl. A lot of you know who he is. A lot of you seen him modding for different channels, and he has his own channel. So, sir, thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I really do.
All right, guys. Now, so let's get out the way the basic technical crap that I always go through. How do we look and how do we sound? 5x5. All right. East Wind Farm said 5x5, so we are good.
All right.
All right, good. Hello, Peter said 5x5. Very good. All right, guys. So, like I was saying last night about Rip Curl, the guy is sharp. He knows his shit, and obviously, you know, not breaking his balls, but being that he's older, he has more life experience than than I do. So, it's good to listen to people who have been there, done that kind of deal. So, let me start out by asking you. And we're going to start with the basic bullshit questions. You know what? Fuck the basic bullshit questions. Let's go right into it because we were talking about something really good before we went live. And we were talking about the Capitol and its incidents and the bullshit that's being attached to it. Uh, what is your opinion on the whole mess, if you will?
Well, I'm not necessarily against what was done there. I think that there has to be a happy medium of us pushing back,
Right.
but not going too far. There's always the shout outs about, or the people shouting out there, like, we got to go armed, we got to do this. Hey, look, it's not smart to go onto the enemy's battlefield, for lack of a better word, and on their terms. So if we're going to go there, we're wanting to make a point. And what happened there is we did that there were going to be bad actors there that there to initiate us or draw us into doing something that we didn't want to. And like you and I were discussing, it sounds like there were people there because you were on the ground that were trying to stop what was going on. But, in that crowd mentality, it just sucks you in. And then we've given them exactly what they originally wanted. I almost think that they initiated this idea of, being there, to have a big showing. I think if we would have held back and said, look, we don't know you guys, or just pointed out to the authorities, there you go.
Right.
They're not with us. We would have been better off. But as a result, since you've been there, and I know you've had some ramifications from it
Yeah.
that you discussed in one of yours previous videos. Here, even over on the West Coast, as far away as you can get, in our little town, was a giant billboard with a government seal on it that said, hey, if you know anything about what happened at the Capitol, call this number. So they're trying to get people to basically, rat out others. And that is a giant red flag in my book.
Well, listen, I think personally, it's this witch hunt is going to get worse, and I think we're going to see bigger ramifications from it. So now, obviously, what happened at the Capitol while I was there, I was a little disappointed, especially because it was why it went down. Obviously, there might be reasons you want to do something like that, but the election thing, that wasn't it. And for example, we got this bill 127, House Representative Bill 127 coming down. That's some shit that you might want to, you know, possibly protest in a harsh fashion at the Capitol, if you will. Um, that's something that we need to be watching. The Department of Homeland Security's notice that they sent out the other day about pretty much how to rat out your neighbors if they fit the criteria of, right wing extremists against COVID restrictions, and the police use for the police use of force protest. That's what they also put in there. So they actually covered everyone. So last night when I was reading it off and I saw the police use of force, I was like, all right, I didn't quite get it. I read it again and then I was like, okay, so they covered everyone. So they want nobody to protest, and they're going to use the platform of protesting for a reason for them to start looking into people, let alone um, rounding people up. Now, obviously, the shit that I got into, the ramifications for what happened to me, it's still being looked at. That's all I can say. I can't say anything else behind it, but because that's how real it's gotten.
Well, right, and it's not even just people that were there. It's gone as far as I've heard stories here locally that people are getting reported that spoke out just in support of what happened there, or saying, no, just like me right now. I mean, I guess somebody could watch this and say, "Oh yeah, he's one of them," and that's what they've started to do. And in fact, I think they even have one of the EOs or something like that was to that executive order, of course, EO,
Right.
uh, that the new administration has done is help to strengthen or build a group that looks into this even further, um, and tries to, what do they say, tries to identify these people. I mean, I don't get it. We're just normal people with our views, that are different from, say, a far left person. That doesn't make us domestic terrorists in any way.
Right, but like you said, you see where, like we were just discussing earlier, you see where the language is going, though, right? So
Oh,
they're creating language to build a case against Trump supporters, against right wing extremists, right? Look, for example, what CNN reported earlier today about. Let's see if I can find this pretty quick. I mean, I know exactly where it is, but I couldn't believe this when I saw it. So today, CNN Business reports, now get this language, white supremacist internet gamers buy GameStop stocks to purposefully bankrupt Jewish hedge fund on International Holocaust Remembrance Day. So somehow they made this a race thing about a bunch of dudes who were tired of hedge fund guys taking advantage of the stock market. They took advantage of the stock market. Now everybody's looking at them as white supremacists, or some people are.
well, I think that that's because that's got to be because it's the new demonization agenda, or the catchphrase to try and throw things at. Hey, if this bad happened and it's not with our program, then obviously it had to have been orchestrated by white supremacists, of which we all know are T-Man supporters, right?
Right.
Uh, and so I mean, and when does it get to the ridiculousness? I mean, you heard of the reports where the kids are at home for school, right? And in the background is a Nerf gun, and they uh, somebody on the liberal side is watching this, a parent or whatever, makes a report, and now all of a sudden that guy's getting a visit from uh, uh, human services, right? Because obviously he must be crazy, or it must be a Trump supporter, or and this that same thing has happened for kids that have Trump flags and so forth in the background. So it is quickly getting to that point, just like you said, is where do we stop with this, and where does it keep involving? I mean, it's a witch hunt, like you said. It is absolutely a witch hunt.
Right. So now people say, "Oh, you know what? You're being fooled by the text of this." I said, "No, I'm not being fooled. I know exactly what they're doing." And it's sort of like, for example, what Cuomo did. I guess today he made an announcement saying that he's going to reopen indoor dining come February 14th, Valentine's Day. Now, you know why he's doing that? Well, because he has his nuts in a vice grip right now with the whole senior citizens dying in the old age homes there. And they said that they hid the real amount of people that died. So now that he's under a microscope, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's open up indoor dining. I'll look like a hero again. So everything that's posted on CNN or MSNBC, or sure, hell, man, even Fox News, it's a distraction to take us away from something else that's going on, right? They're blaming right now. They're blaming Trump for what happened in the stock market. How's that even possible?
It's not. He has no influence whatsoever anymore, and he's out playing golf or whatever he may be doing. And at most, he might be trying to build another political party, and I think that's great. And he has the right to do that. But how absurd is that? What people need to see is the reality of it. The reality is just what you said. They've got some bad press, so now we're going to try and find something to look like a hero. Why don't we look at the truth to that? You shut them down in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
if it's sudden right now, and the coof has found itself just magically no longer that much of a threat, that doesn't make any sense. It should have been open from the beginning. So people need to look at that and see the hypocrisy in it and say, whoa, wait a minute. That Then why'd you shut it down in the first place? See, this is a game and you're lying to us.
Right.
And I think the people on the left need to start seeing those kind of things. And it's amazing to me that they don't. They need to say, well, no, you were the ones responsible for shutting it.
Right. Right, exactly, and again, it's sort of like a bait and switch kind of deal. Not even a bait and switch. It's sort of like a shell game, if you will. They'll show you this. Oh, well, never mind that you saw that. And they'll move it around and put something else in front of you, and they'll uncover it and be like, well, look at this. How about this? And then of course, people who are easily influenced will look at that and go, "Oh, well, that's nice, but what about the other one?" Some people ask about the other one. Don't worry about the other one. It doesn't matter, and that's what they do with the media. Headlines. The headlines, they keep moving shit around to take our mind off of what's going on. I mean, listen, guys. Some people are saying COVID is fake, and fake, no. But the way they're playing this out, yes, they're absolutely overplaying the COVID game. What is your opinion on the? Now, listen. To be fair, we should be having this conversation on my other channel, but being that, again, I like how you talk and what you have to say. I'm like, fuck that for now. We're gonna talk about this. I'll throw some prepping questions in there in a little bit just to bring it back to the channel. But what is your opinion on COVID?
Well, okay, so my better half works in the health community,
Okay.
and she deals with this on a daily basis. She also has a lot of friends that are doctors and whatnot. One of them, in fact, works in Washington at the main ground zero, if you want to call it, that they had up in Washington when it first happened. Is it real? Yes, it's a real bug. Can it make certain people really, really sick and even kill you? Sure, absolutely. Um, are they playing with it and exaggerating it and playing with the numbers? Absolutely, they are, because it doesn't justify, as we all know, the numbers don't justify what's being done. And it's a great big game. It's a game that I think is spurred on by two things: one, money, and the other one is control. This is a agenda they're trying to control to get other things they want done,
Yes.
to move their agenda along. It's like what do they call that? The Hegelian dialectic. Well, we've created this big thing and make everybody scared, so they'll demand certain things that we wanted to start with. So yeah, it is something we need to take seriously. I mean, myself, I have a lung condition that I really need to be careful not to get that, because
Right.
it could be one that does me in.
Okay.
But I don't live in, even me, I don't live in fear every day. If I use it just like everybody else should. I respect people who don't want to wear their mask, because if I'm worried about it, I can wear a mask and protect myself there. And I think they are manipulating it to get things that are even worse that are coming down the road. I can tell you this: there is preparations being made, and I got this from the horse's mouth, so I'm not going to say any kind of false information.
Right.
But I have a friend that's in the guard in logistics, and they have been absolutely practicing for the event of widespread vaccinations that are looking like they could be mandatory, and how to deal with it. Now, they haven't said that, and it may not get to that point, but if it does, I have to ask myself, why are they practicing for it if it's not something that they expect might be happening? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think people need to just take, to answer the question shortly, I guess, to take precautions, treat it as if it's real, because it does get you very, very sick. I also think that in some cases it'd be better off just to get it and get over with it, just like anything else, like the flu, etc.
Right.
Unless you're old or, you know, compromised or something like that. And what Cuomo did, I mean, you know group people up in their homes and stuff like that, and then they start dying off, that is a suspect in my opinion.
Right. Well, it's funny. What state do you live in?
Oregon.
And it's funny, like even all the way out there, you heard of you know Cuomo and you know the shit that he's doing. You know, like that's it's to me, and maybe because I was younger and I didn't care, but growing up, you really didn't hear much about. Maybe it wasn't me and I wasn't paying attention, but I never heard about other governors as much as I've heard about like who's the governor we keep hearing about. Oh, California's governor, for example, way the hell over there. Uh, a mayor in Chicago, Lightfoot. Like I've been hearing her name pop up a lot, and you hear about these different governors and mayors, and you're like, maybe 10 years ago, you would have never heard this much about another city's mayor unless they were a neighboring state or a state close by. But not somebody that's like all the way on the other side of the country. And it just shows uh, that a lot of the shit they're doing is pretty disheartening when you look at the bigger picture, which is part of the control you were talking about. Shutting down restaurants, telling you got to wear a mask. Now they're saying, well, you might have to wear a double mask now. I could definitely see businesses pushing that bullshit. I just can't see a business saying, oh, you know what? You can't come in here. You don't have a double mask on. I mean, who the fuck knows? I didn't think I would see a business talking about. Go ahead.
That's funny you say that, because here in Oregon, they just at the medical facilities, they just started doing that here, wearing the double mask,
Really?
the N95 underneath the regular one. It's absurd. I don't get it. Now, and the other side is let's say it's not absurd or it doesn't seem over. Tell us why.
Right.
I want the real answer. Why? Is there something you're not telling us? You know what I mean? Um, and then, and I tell you how it's kind of been going down over here. A lot of people put the moniker on Oregon as, oh my goodness, that it immediately um, ties us with and Quifa, for lack of a better word, or whatever, and BLM and all of that, and the riots that are up in Portland, and all of that kind of stuff, and that's not the case for all of Oregon. That is, like, Portland is what makes the decisions, it seems like, for the rest of Oregon. Like down here in Southern Oregon, you could walk into a store without a mask and they might say, hey, we'd like you to wear one. You could just say, no, I got medical conditions, sorry. And nobody is like sitting out there going, shame. Like I hear all these stories where people
Same.
on people, and we're like, what? And even during the riots, they came here one night, and to be honest, they were met with at least 1,000 people that were, well, ready to make sure they didn't destroy our town. And that's what we need to do. We need to come together as groups and say, look, you have the right to protest, which is what we did, but do not destroy our town. And it's in these towns, like up in Portland, we went and tried to do that. They tried to arrest us, and they did arrest some and ran us out and backed up the protesters at that time. And now that's backfired on them. And I'm interested to see how that's going to play out, because now that I think they thought it would just be over with when the new administration got in. But now, as you've seen, you showed it in one of your videos, the sign that says, we don't want, Biden. We want revenge, right?
All right.
And that shows that it backfired on them. So I'm curious to see how they're going to remedy that.
It's an it's the whole Biden thing. I don't even want to get started, but I'm going to ask you a question on that in a minute. Dusty Data, thank you for the donation. Rich Mountains, thank you for the donation. We appreciate it. So, Biden's been in office about a week and a little bit, a week and a day or two. What is your opinion on this babbling moron? Because that's exactly what the hell he is.
I think it shows a huge weakness of our country, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. I think other countries are going to look at us, and I can't help but to feel like we're a laughing stock. I mean, when somebody can't even get out coherent sentences at times. Some of them, if you take the sentence and write it on paper and read it because you were thinking, what did he just say?
Right.
And it makes no sense whatsoever. And I'm sorry, but if somebody makes comments like referring to his daughter as his deceased son and things like that, I don't have hate necessarily for him. I feel bad, and I also think at the same time, because that's a real condition.
Right.
And in fact, I have a father-in-law that is starting to get a little on that forgetful side like that because he's dealing with the same sort of thing. It certainly shouldn't be the person that's going to be dealing with dignitaries or leaders of other countries. I mean, for instance, right now, um, our China's testing the waters with um, flying straight over with massive air force and bombers and things like that over Taiwan. And have we heard anything from our leader about shame on you, don't do that or else we're going to get involved, or even a comment like that's okay, we're in bed with him? I don't know, but
That's okay.
he hasn't addressed it at all. And what's happening there, and this is the kind of stuff he should be able to see, is they're testing the waters, and it's not going to be long before they start trying to take Taiwan back. And is he going to let it happen or not? I mean, that's the thing is, and I don't know if you guys caught it, and I'm not trying to plug my channel here at all, but I managed to get a clip from a Tapper interview that was done with him, and they tried to scrub it. And I got the full clip of it, and he literally says in there, this is before he took office or did inauguration. He said, we're going to go over everything. We work as a team, talking about him and Kamala. And he says, we're going to work as a team. And if we can't come to a consensus or an agreement on something, and it's something I can't live with, I'll just fake an illness and resign. This is our president. He's the boss, not her. So if they can't, and he says that he had the same agreement with Obama.
Interestingly enough, uh, if you listen to Kamala Harris's language,
Mm-hmm.
when they asked her about gun control, and she said that her, I'm going to sign an executive order for a mandatory gun buyback. She was talking as if she was saying she's running the show and she's the president. Uh, so when I heard, oh, not Obama, I'm sorry, when I heard Biden say that, I was like, whoa, there's something else going on here. And obviously, we're all being had. Now, which video was that, if you can remember, where you
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, and I don't want to mess with anything for fear of accidentally dropping the call. But because I'm not a techno guy, as you can tell. But it was the one. It has a picture of her and him on it, and it said, "What did he say?" or something like that on it. Uh, it's the only one with him and her on the
on the
thumbnail.
on the thumbnail?
And I'll tell you what, I was blown away because here's the thing. If that's true, what he just admitted to is what is true because it's on film and he said it. What that leaves me feeling is that he's willing to lie to the American people and say he has an illness that he doesn't have and retire because he's not able to stand up for the decisions that have to be made.
Well, so yes, that's the thing. I don't think he's going to make it past um, a year. I mean, I'd be completely surprised if this dude made a year. I think it's going to be 100 days, and he's going to bounce. You know. All right, guys. So here's the video. I'm putting it in the chat. You can grab it if you want. It's a direct link to the video he's talking about on his channel. And while you're there, you might as well like and subscribe to him because I know a lot of you guys are digging him. So again, the link is in the description, and you can also like and subscribe while you're there. The link to that video he was just talking about. Sorry. So, real
Fine. I have confidence in him. Let's just put it that way.
no, I don't. You know what? There was one side of me. It was like a small micro moment where I was like, you know what? Maybe maybe he'll surprise us. And when I mean us, I'm talking about conservatives. Like maybe he'll surprise us. We'll see. And then these executive orders are flying off his fucking desk like hotcakes. I'm like, okay, maybe not. And then I said, I remember when he said something about Trump being a dictator for signing executive orders, of many executive orders that he signed. And then this motherfucker goes into office, and then 37 executive orders later, no one's calling him out on his bullshit, right? So
Right.
it's just insane, like you said earlier, about the hypocrisy and how nobody is calling it, or at least the media is not calling. And listen, we know why the media is not calling it out. It's not a surprise. I know you or I are not like, man, why aren't they doing this? We know why they're not doing this because it goes a lot deeper, by the way, than just um, the media not doing this. I personally believe, being that George Soros has a lot of connections with these media companies, and he even owns a bunch of these media companies. This is the reason why the narrative has been changed. This is the reason why the narrative has been flipped. Why Trump looks like the enemy and Biden looks like a hero, and Kamala Harris is a gift to all black women because they changed the narrative because he wanted the narrative to change. Because I can guarantee you, if Trump was on um, George Soros's good side, we wouldn't have seen such a browbeating 4 years in the media of the president of the United States, who, when comparing him to other presidents, did just about the same, if not better. And yet, this is where we are. You know, so
Well, I think, from a prepping standpoint, and why I think people really need to be getting prepared for what's coming in the future. And I don't know I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you this: we should be preparing for hard times, because even in these EOs that he's done, he has undone things like hardening our grid, and the progress that was being made there, and instead wanting to turn towards the environment. I mean, we've got a grid right now that if we don't keep getting extras of things and whatnot, we're going to be in trouble, because some of these transformers, these main grid transformers, if they go down, it's going to take 2 years to build one. Okay, we didn't get enough stockpiled in this time when Trump was in to guarantee that we can just put things back together again.
right,
And we not forget that that under his watch, we just now had an attack that gave uh, somebody who did the hack the ability to know our plans for what to do when the grid goes down. So now they know how to take not only the grid down, but what we're going to do to bring it back up. So from a preparing standpoint, we need to be ready to be able to deal with no power. I'm not saying it's going to happen or given a date. I'm just saying we're at risk right now, and Biden has made that even worse by just undoing everything that Trump did out of spite, in my
right.
opinion. And so there, yeah.
All right. Well, guys, we are at the 29-minute mark. If you do not mind, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whatever whatever gets a rise out of you. It helps with the channel, right? And also, quick mention. Uh, I have to say it, but Great Man Prepping's got merch, and I got merch today. So I got the hoodie. I was supposed to wear it for the show, but I left it at home. I'm at my parents' place. This is like a studio. I'm using it now, if you will, just because it allows for an easier setup. So I did leave the hoodie home. I will be wearing it in my next few videos, if you will. And listen. I was I was impressed with the hoodie, and I'm getting a T-shirt next because I usually wear T-shirts. So
You got it too?
say again.
I, I did. I got merch. I got a cup, but it didn't get here yet, or I was going to use it today.
Yeah, so I got the hoodie today, and I was like, holy shit, this is really good quality. I thought it was listen, it was Teesprings. I thought it was going to be cheap, but it's not cheap. So I'm definitely going to get a T-shirt. So Gray Man Prepping has very good merch. It's not cheap. It's not bullshit. It's on point. So also, let's see. Tim, thank you for the donation. And there was somebody else that donated a while back. I do apologize for not mentioning you, but thank you for your donation. It's greatly appreciated. So apparently the chat is like it's turning into a free for all, just like the amount of shit that's going on. Wolf Mule, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, man. Um, it seems like to be on fire today. Just reading like every third comment, and I'm like, get this troll, get him out of here. It's pretty cool.
I
No,
know.
Angry doesn't have merch, and I'm not going to do any kind of t-shirts or hats for the Angry Prepper. I might do it for the Angry Truth channel though. Might. It's a big giant, might. So anyway,
Yeah, that cat looks pretty fired up right there.
you do right. You see that?
Yep.
Yeah, right. It's like he's getting out of control.
Well, good. There needs to be a little. That's what gets people thinking.
Well, it does that, and you know, you got trolls that are just like, I'm bored today. Whose live stream can I? Oh shit, Angry's on, and then after that, and I don't want to put two and two together. But we are going to be Kevin Grip. Thank you for the donation. We are going to be ending this 5 minutes earlier than normal. TJ Preps has a live stream coming on tonight, so you guys can head over there after you're done here. And whoever else has a live stream tonight, you can also put it in the chat, guys. I don't give a shit. I don't mind you guys pushing your own channel and stuff like that. It doesn't bother me at all. Unless you're that fucking asshole that I hate and you know who it is, that guy is not allowed to do it, but everyone else can. Tim, again, thank you for the donation. But uh, listen, man, I we are in a strange times right now. I mean, it's to say the least. But I was watching Ice Age Farmer, and he was talking about a lot of the Sean Alexander. Thank you for the donation. He was talking about a lot of the land grab and the something that Biden signed, an executive order he signed to conserve 30% of farmlands so that they can claim, I guess, so that the federal government can claim it back and not do anything with it. Um, What is your yeah, I would say, yeah, what is your opinion on this new, not food shortage, like, but food war, as Ice Age Farmer put it?
Yeah, well, first off, Ice Age Farmer is spot on with that kind of stuff, and it does kind of solidify my concerns about food shortages coming up, and that's just one of the directions it's coming up from. I mean, from supply chain to that, because that the thing about that order is, I mean, the government's always subsidized farming. And in my opinion, they've had them like overproduce, and then they just let certain things go to waste. But this one's different. This is like saying, I have a weird feeling as if they're going to try and claim some of that back for the government. I'm a little, and I don't know that for a fact because I haven't read it all the way through, but I'm worried about that. And why would you do something like that when we know we have food issues? I mean,
Right.
first off, China was buying up a lot of our pork. They own a ton of farms here in and ranches and things like that here locally because they're running out of space. Why would you do something that would go against the American people and cause a further issue? That really is concerning, and it's one of the reasons why we should be putting food up and things like that. Because even as it is now, that may not have we may not feel that until a little bit later.
Right.
But as you can go to the store right now, and I've gone in there and there has been zero eggs, and a lot of that too is because they've had to kill off a lot of poultry. It always seems like they come up with reasons that hurt the food supply. And what I will say is this: the best thing we can do is, and I'm trying to do it too, as I know everybody watched, and I did my first hand at a garden last year, and it went really well. So if I can do it, any of you can do it. That's out there. And to get so besides becoming self-sufficient yourself, um, go out and make friends with your local butcher. Not Safeway, not whatever, Walmart or anything like that, but go out and make friends with your ranchers, your farmers, your butchers, and all of them, and get relationships to deal directly towards them, because when it hits, you're going to want to bring your network into your local communities and be able to function and get things from them to support them and keep them going, while everybody else, like the big box stores and stuff, are going to start running out of stuff. That would be the smart thing to do. And because the more self-sufficient we come to, the more power we have when we speak back to the, you don't need them.
Very good. And yeah, listen, you're absolutely right about the, I guess, gathering and connecting to others to ease the pain of what might be coming. It's just, it's incredible that, for example, a lot of us are reading this, a lot of us are watching this, and we're watching this shit coming, and we're like in my head, I'm trying to figure out how do we stop this, and there is a way to stop it, but unfortunately, the way to stop that is going to be super aggressive, and it's going to start a war or civil war or skirmishes. But nonetheless, it seems like maybe we should definitely be headed down that road, because people are like, oh well, you know what? They're claiming farmland back so that they could turn them back into forests, or and they're trying to get rid of the methane gas that the cows are giving off. I'm like, really? I said, then how about let's entertain China and India, for example, the two countries that have the most factories that are pumping the most shit in the air. Let's go after them first, and then give it a couple years, and then see what happens, and then go after cows, which I don't agree with at all. But nonetheless, that's what that's what it would take. Sorry, for logic to take over. You would just be like, yo, let's try shutting down these factories first, even here in the United States, even some in the UK, right? Especially if you cut India and China's factories down in half, there would be a huge difference in our atmosphere. But instead, let's go after the cows, and let's go after the stuff people eat. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, listen, it makes sense when you're thinking about the whole global domination. Well, that side it makes sense, but then you still pull back and you're like, but why? Like, why such the rush? Why such a fast pace in this whole thing? Arkansas Living, I am gonna give you a call probably later tonight because I know you're fucking up late at night, so you will be hearing from me and you if you don't. Hey, he's fucking up like all hours of the night, man, with his hat and chewing tobacco and shit. So pretty sure he's not gonna mind me calling him. So guys, we are at the 38-minute mark, so we're probably gonna be on for another 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we're going to head over to TJ Prep's channel because she's going to be talking about the same thing that we touched on, but she's probably going to go in more depth about it. Again, guys, Rip Curl, this is who we are interviewing tonight. Again, sharp dude. This is why I have him on. And I am vetting, I hate to say, and my moderators are vetting a lot of people now to be on the channel just because I don't want to get. We've been doing decent. Sorry. We've been doing decent when having good guests on the show. I don't want to have a kook come on the show. So, again, Rip Curl, thank you for joining us today. And, thank you for being completely honest and open. That's the kind of interviews I like. You are definitely going to be on my Angry Truth channel, without a doubt. Just because, again, you say what you mean to say, and you're articulate about it. So you're not just you know you're just not rambling shit off and cursing like I do. You're being articulate, and you're being how you say diplomatic, which is what I like. I'm the furthest thing from diplomatic, as a lot of you know. So, what else could we talk about? Oh, go ahead.
Wendy brings up a good point here on the subject we were just on. the best way to control masses is to control their food, and that's exactly it. And I was just thinking that too. Is why don't we concentrate? And like you just said, why don't we concentrate on our problems here, or and just like our past leader was doing, bringing it back to here. I don't know if people realize it, but a lot of our production of food of all types goes overseas
Right.
for them, and that's what their interest is in us. Is they want more of that, because they've run out of land or whatever it may be. But we need to start taking care of our people first and focusing on our people first, before we go and direct it elsewhere. And I don't mean that in a selfish way. There just has to be a balance, and it has to take care of us here first. But she's right. I think the reason they're doing it is because that's one way, again, to control us. Because honestly, I think what the plan is, if somebody had to ask me, is, and this is what we're prepping for, is the fact that they want to make us as desperate and beaten down as possible. Because you got to remember, on all these arguments that are happening, it doesn't matter if you're left, right, um, radical or not. They control all sides of it. They manipulate the information from each way so that they can control the fight that they want to see to keep us divided.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to just ignore and not let happen. And if we do, they'll start to worry, and we'll be able to speak up and have more impact, I think, on when we push back. And like you said earlier, it might get to the point where the pushback is not what any of us want to see. And until that point, we need to be as proactive as we can be by addressing these issues and pointing out, saying, look, we don't want you to do this. We don't want you to do that. And that may be going to, state houses and stuff on local schedule, things like that. And the most important thing, the more self-sufficient you get and the less you need them is when you can start hitting them in the pocketbook.
Right. And that's exactly why we prep. So we don't need them, right? So we don't have to rely on them and their bullshit. And listen, I'm looking to get a house. Right? The wife and I are looking to get a house to get the fuck out of here. And with a house, there's so much more you can do, right? But when you live in a city, you are severely handicapped. I wouldn't even say limited. I would say handicapped to the shit you can do, right? And again, growing your own food, starting a little farm if you have the land to do it. That's where it counts. Now, back to what you said about um, coming together. The only problem about coming together is I think I'm fair, and I think I can listen to all sides and listen to the bullshit. I can listen to the bullshit and go, okay, I see why they think like that, and I'm fair in that way. But the left is making it so fucking hard lately. I mean, they really are. So there is something to be said though with the left. For example, the guy, my personal troll EF, me and him, we can go at it debating on Instagram, right? And we go back and forth, but then we'll stop and we'll ask each other questions. So there's a common ground that him and I have that I hate to admit, but him and I have a common ground where we're able to be humans to one another, right? He breaks my balls and he calls me fat, and and then he'll pick on the way I'll ask a question, but then to his credit, which I hate giving him, but to his credit, he will show me like, okay, this is why you have to ask this question because of this, and you want to draw more attention, and this is how you line up your questions. Travel Nurse Prepper, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. So I have to give him some credit because me and him could be civil for like 5 minutes, but nonetheless, it's 5 minutes of him and I being civil. So there is something there where we can sort of understand each other, but that's just him and I, and that's only for 5 minutes. But nonetheless, that's 5 minutes that can grow into something. But there's so many other people on the left that just make it so hard. Where do you go from there?
Well, the best technique I had ever learned, and this just helped me in life in general, because I, like you said, I have, thankfully you said this, you I have plenty of years under my belt. Let me tell you what, that sneaks up quick. When I heard I was 50, I just about shocked me, even though I knew it was true. But what I did learn is that uh, that well, the biggest thing I said is the when a person comes to you with unreasonable thoughts or demands or anything like that, like the left, a lot of the stuff's unreasonable, right? So you can just ask them and disarm them by saying, well, what would you do? What's your solution? And when they come at you with something that's just crazy that you know that just can't be done, right? You can just say, okay, well, what about I can't do that. It doesn't make any sense. Logistically, it can't happen. That's just dreamland, right?
Right.
What's your what else will satisfy you? And then you just keep doing that and working it down until you meet a middle road, and then you tell them, look, I can do that, until they get to what you are able to do that you knew from the beginning that makes sense. And then you just say, okay, I can do that, and it becomes then their idea, and that will help bridge the gap as well, too, because they'll be able to, like, well, this guy just didn't, berate me and yell and scream at me or tell me how I was stupid,
Right.
and they think they won the fight when really they didn't. And in the end, it benefited all, if you know what I mean.
Right. Sorry. Firefly Farm. They are not the same people. Uh, Prepper 101 is a responsible adult. The other guy, whatever. But no, they're not the same people. So please don't get Prepper 101 confused with the other guy. Um, that's the one thing I ask you guys. One is ER at the end. The other one is ING. Please don't get me started on that fucking situation. But yeah, Prepper one. Okay, thank you, Angie. Thank you for saying that. That is fucking awesome. So, um, listen, it's just insane with the arguing. Listen, now and I have to be fair. I've seen some people on the right, not even right wing extremists. I hate that term, because like a right wing extremist to me is like, I guess Timothy McVeigh, right? Like that's a guy who went like above and beyond, built a bomb, and then blew up Oklahoma building. Now the Oklahoma, what is this, federal building. Now, there's something more to the whole Oklahoma bombing I don't want to get into, just because that's another, not conspiracy theory, but that's just another conversation I'd rather leave for my other channel, because that'll be like an endless conversation. But there's some things about the Oklahoma bombing that was questionable. Melissa Forrest, thank you for the donation. But that's a right wing extremist to me. And a left wing extremist is again, somebody would do something like that, but for left reasons. Um, but the right they do have their moments, man, where they say shit and you're like, what the fuck, man? Really? Like, no, that's not, how it operates. For example, Trump. Trump is out of office. He's not coming back. But for whatever reason, there are right wing people who think he's laying in the cut and he's just going to like pop up out of nowhere. And I that ideology pisses me off as well. Because listen, there's no such thing as the right wing people not saying stupid shit. It's impossible.
Well, and the problem with that too is it gets you believing a a false narrative or a fantasy land of something that's not going to happen, and that's what they want, and it's meant to distract you from being able to do something that really will benefit everyone. Because yeah, I'm the same way. I take great offense to the fact that they're trying to make people like us, like-minded people that are just trying to live and
Right.
have a country that was the way it was supposed to be, and labeling us all as right-wing extremists.
Right.
And you're exactly right. An extremist is somebody that plans an extreme action. It is not extreme to want a country that respects our rights and freedoms.
Right.
That's not extreme. Extreme would be, of course, like what Timothy McVeigh and stuff did. But they're trying to round us all up so that, well, I mean, like, I hate to say it, but like AOC said, we got to be re-educated. No, we don't have to be re-educated. And that's dangerous, because those kind of things, and like what Maxine Waters said, coming and confronting them, in restaurants and stuff like that, and shaming them,
Right.
that's what has to be avoided. Because I can tell you what, somebody comes and shames me like that in front of my family at a restaurant, well, we're going to take it out around the corner, and we're going to talk about this.
Right.
Uh, and when somebody, I don't want somebody to come and try and lock me up and re-educate me, because that's not needed, and it's going to ignite something in this country that is going to be, well, bad for everyone. So we need to try and avoid those kind of things, and we need to call those people out. What we need to do is call them out for their stupidity, but with respect and whatnot, so that we're taken seriously.
Right. And that's absolutely it. Um, I just think that we're going to be battling this road for a while now, and I'm a little annoyed right now with the every time something goes wrong now, they're going to blame it on Trump. It'll be 2 years in this guy's presidency. We're like, that's because of Trump, and they're just going to try to make this loose, shitty connection. All right, listen. So now we are at it's actually 9:54. We are going to have to cut this short. Prepper Tribe has a live, I think, at 10 as well, and so does TJ Preps. Someone just announced it, so I don't know. But nonetheless, if we can, support both channels and watch both videos at the same time, if that's possible, if your computer is capable of doing that. If not, one video at a time. Now, Great Man Prepper, man, thank you for the donation. You didn't have to, why, but thank you again. Again, guys, this is Rip Curl. Rip Curl will definitely be on again, but he will be on The Angry Truth the next time, because this conversation was good. I'm going to bring him back on here, and we're going to have prepper questions ready for him. So sorry that this sort of went off the rails, but this is such a good conversation. I had a good time. I know you guys had a good time. The chat looked like it was a good fucking time. Too bad I couldn't read it all, but
Yeah,
I'll probably look at it later. Right? It was like
I'm gonna, yeah, that's for sure.
it was like the OK Corral in here tonight. I know it gets like that every night, but tonight was exceptionally aggressive. I mean, everybody was aggressive. Even my wife was aggressive. So that was pretty impressive. Yeah, it was an impressive time in there, man. Just like sort of eyeballing it out the corner of my eye. So anyway, guys, tonight seems like it's a prepping clubbing night. So again, you can head over to Prepper Tribe if he's having one. I'm unsure of that, but I saw someone mention it. And head over to TJ Preps. And I'm pretty sure North Shore Preparedness is going to surprise us with one tonight, because that's normally how he does. That's how I find out about it last minute. Again, guys, this is Rip Curl. Like and subscribe to his channel. Please head over to his channel now. Like and subscribe to it. Saturday is the last day of the Prepper Channel raid. The Prepper Channel raid, the weekly raid, sorry, the Prepper Weekly Channel raid was Autoimmune Prepper. So head over to her channel, like and subscribe to that. And guys, other than that, thank you for the donations. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. And I appreciate it. And Arkansas Living, if you're still on here, I'll be calling you in a couple minutes. Heartland Survival, man, thank you for the donation. Guys, good night.
Night, guys.